Hello and welcome to Bringing Education Home. I'm Herb.
And I'm Christina. And together we bring you experts and ideas to help grow healthy, happy, successful families that are both inside.
And outside the box. If you like the show, be sure to follow Christina on Facebook.
And please leave us a like review on your favorite podcast platform. Hello, and today I have the pleasure of introducing Herb Favorite, co-host of Bringing Education Home.
And I have the pleasure of introducing Christina Hay-Averett, co-host of our podcast, Bringing Education Home. And today is our 100th episode. And so we thought we would do a little something different. We're doing this completely off the cuff, no notes, but we're just going to be talking a little bit about our podcast and why we do it and what we've been finding.
Where did that name, Bringing Education Home, come from?
Wow, that names are a different thing for me. So we spent quite a few time a while trying to come up with this, and we wanted to separate it from homeschool because what we talk about isn't really homeschooling. And when we came up with Bringing Education Home, it just fit so well with what we're trying to do, because it's not bringing school home, and it's bringing education home, because the parents get an education through this process. The children get an education through this process, so it's a full learning for the whole family. And so Bringing Education Home was what we came up with.
And remember your mom, she was so amazing. As we started coming up with names and different things like that, she would actually write them down on pieces of paper, and then she would doodle and scribble around the edges with stars and hearts and different things. And so we had several different versions of our name, and she put those on these special pieces of paper around the house, and we got to see them and really internalize them. And yeah, Bringing Education Home was just the name that fit everything, because as we're talking about this, education for us isn't academics. It's not reading, writing, math. It's that whole child, that whole person, like Herb was talking about. And in the podcast, it's for the parents to help with all of that.
So, and if you're here and you've been listening to our podcast, you know that we are about bringing education home. It's not about schooling. This podcast isn't just about schooling. We've had so many different guests and so many different things to talk about that it's just been amazing how much learning we've done. So that's one of my favorite parts of doing this podcast, is the times where I've learned something new. And there's been times where we've had people on that is like, wow, I really don't agree with what this person's talking about. But after learning more about it, hearing more about it, is like, okay, I really can see how that helps, and I can understand that more. And while I was always kind of opposed to this concept, after hearing how it changes lives and hearing how it worked, is like, wow, I really wish I'd been able to incorporate that a little more in what we were doing.
And the other part of that is that even though it's not a good fit for us, it might be a good fit for another family. And that's one of the things we talk about as well on the podcast, in everything that we do, is that you need to make sure that education is a good fit for you and your family. What works well for you, what really helps your family grow and shine. So that is also super amazing, that even though we might not 100% agree with someone, we can see the good, we can pick out the nuggets, like we say, and take them and use them in a great place. How do we get our guests?
I have no idea.
Exactly. And so why did I ask you that question?
Probably so I could point out that you get the guests and you do the work behind the background. So she really does go out of her way, or go above and beyond to talk to and vet the people for our podcast. And I just get to show up and have the fun part and interview. So there's a lot of times where I have absolutely no idea what we're going to be talking about before the show starts. And I'll hear about it like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll read through the bio and I'll come up with questions, and then we just go.
But that's also your strength, is knowing how to ask questions on the fly or going deeper on something whenever we need to go there, right? So even though I've done the background and the research and I update him, he knows how to take that conversation to a really great level. So he's downplaying his role. He does it so much more than just showing up. But yeah, where do these guests come from? How do I vet them? What is this process? Because part of this is, when you're hearing information, you have to be critical yourself, making sure that you either resonate with the information or you understand where the information came from, and that it is not only a good fit for your family, but that it is accurate to the best of our knowledge. So most of the people that we have on our podcast are people that I've met through different summits, different podcasts that I've been on, different networking events. I'm in several parenting groups, right? And I go and visit very different homeschooling and education websites, as well as Facebook groups and things like that. And so these people, every single person has to have a face-to-face meeting with me before I will let them come on the podcast. So it is my complete intent that we're giving you as accurate of information as possible, or information that is super helpful. So as I am talking with them and making sure that they're a good fit, we also do talk a little bit about which direction we kind of want the show to go, and we make sure that we know each other, that they're a good fit for us, that they understand that homeschooling is one of our passions, that really making sure our families grow and thrive as a passion, and that whatever they're doing and bringing to our show is something that will help families, right? So that is something, and that's actually been a change since the beginning of our podcast. When we first started way back in episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, etc., we were actually interviewing entrepreneurs as well as education and family experts, and we shifted away from the entrepreneurs, because even though that was super helpful, we really wanted to make bringing education home a resource for parents on when they have a topic or a concern that they would like to know more information about. So we are doing our best to make sure that you are getting great information every single time, and that we are bringing things that are helpful to you.
So what is something that you necessarily don't like about our podcast, or you have issues with? Because I have a pretty cool answer for that. So I just kind of want to hear what you think.
I love our podcast. I love sometimes that we could maybe go longer, but then I know the whole rules around, not the rules, but what a lot of people say is that, if it's past a certain length, people won't listen, or they get broken up, especially our busy families. So I try to keep it a little bit on the shorter side. And he's always like, let's make it go longer. So that's something that we as a team are working on, kind of getting a consistent thing there. The only other thing is promotion. I really, really wish more people would find this. I really wish more people would know what we have here and how we're helping families, because that's the hard part, is getting the word out there sometimes.
A little more personal to me. I used to watch other people's podcasts, and they would have a guest on that had something that I'd agree with, and then they would have a guest on that even they wouldn't necessarily agree with. And then several days later, I would be watching them again, and they would have discounted all of the stuff from their previous expert, who was like, well, you just heard from this guy. So we've had so many different experts on and so many different things that there are times I wish I could go deeper. It's like, wow, I understand that. I want to go deeper. I want to learn that. We've even been invited to classes to go deeper. And sometimes it's like we just don't have the time, because we have so many different amazing people on that it gets overwhelming how much stuff we realize that even we still have to learn, that we want to learn. And to just pick a couple to go deeper on is a daunting task, because next week we have another expert, and the next week we have another expert. And it's like, wow, I want to learn more about this, but then we have another expert. It's like, wow, I really want to learn more about this. And so sometimes it's overwhelming how much I want to go into different topics and finish reading books and go deeper into something, but then we're often running to the next. And that's one of the things that we actually try and talk to parents about, is like, no, keep it really simple, start small, build up, but and it's like, take one idea, work that in, take the next idea, work that in, maybe take a couple of weeks. But here in the podcast, because we're doing so many so often,
trying to get you guys good content every week,
it's not very easy for us to adopt and to dig into some of these topics that we find interesting, because it's like we have the next topic coming up, and to bring you the show, we have to keep going.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of being at episode 100, and they're there for you. You can go back and listen to them as many times as you want, as much as you want. You can find something that you want to dig in. That's why we bring some of the experts, and we always give you that contact information, because we are not knowledgeable at everything. We have our specific place of beginning homeschoolers, and then we want to make sure that the families get the support they need through all these other different things. Yeah. So what's one of the things that has been the most fun?
Fun. Okay, so this isn't necessarily the most fun, but we always have a slightly off-screen partner here. So she's really, really good as while the podcast is going on, but as soon as we say goodbye, she just always gets up in my face.
So for those of you who are only listening, he is holding up our little cute dog, Velvet. She is a little black dog, about 8 pounds.
And most of the time she sits very calmly in my lap, and is there through most of the podcast. Ooh, look, we got a thumbs up from
you moving
from
your
me
hand.
moving my hand like this. And she is really, really just quiet and calm. But every once in a while, you'll see her head pop up. You see old Taro pop up, and you'll see Christina like squish her down, or see me squish her down.
So you have to go over to YouTube for all those little Easter eggs to find.
But she's in my lap for almost every single one of these. And just in case you're wondering, because sometimes at the end of it, she'll pop up, and the guests will be, ooh, ah, look at that. But she's always here. Our other dog is actually just behind the screen, looking at us, waiting for us to be done. And so, yeah, I picked her up, and she got a little loving, and now she wants more.
Yeah. So that's not okay. The most fun, but most interesting, maybe. I think the most fun is the way that our guests come on, and lots of times they're really hesitant because they're like, there's 2 of you. How am I going to handle talking to 2 of you at the same time? And it's one of those things that we've just realized throughout our marriage, through our experiences, etc., that most of the time, it's not 100% great, but most of the time we know how to give each other the space and not talk over each other and things like that. And even when we go on summits and other podcasts, the person who's interviewing us is kind of the same way. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I talk to 2 of you? And so we always just say, just talk to us as one person, and then we'll pick up whichever part needs to be picked up.
Yeah, that's something that I've said for a lot of times, is there's actually 3 people sitting here. There's Christina, there's Herbert, and then there's us. And we are a unit, and we are the same person, but she's her, I'm me, but we are also a we. And that really comes across in a lot of the stuff that we do.
It does, absolutely. And we each have our experiences, which also helps bring our podcast into a deeper place, right? Because our tagline is both inside and outside of the box, right? You'll see our brand new I'm sorry, I just lost it. Our brand new cover art. Make sure that you go check out how our cover art has changed. And that tagline is right down there on the bottom, both inside and outside of the box. So as a season 2 launch, as episode 100 done, moving on to 101, which is going to be season 2, episode 1, brand new cover art heading out there. So make sure you go check that out as well.
So another kind of a fun thing is when we do events like Podapalooza or Health, Wealth, Wisdom, where we have a whole lot of people that we're interviewing. Because sometimes we get set up with interviews with people that we haven't met beforehand. We have no idea what they're going to talk about. And they'll come on and it's like, oh, this is what I do. You talk about education. I don't know how I'm going to fit into what you do. And then within a couple of minutes of talking with us, they're like, wow, that really is about education. Wow, this really is about families. And so talking with people is like, you think, wow, there's no connection here. And then through the questioning, through curiosity, suddenly it's like, wow, I really do have a lot to bring to families. I really do have a lot to bring to education and how to educate children. And that's a really fun thing to be like, wow, I don't know how this is going to work. And suddenly it's working. And those actually sometimes turn out to be some of the best episodes, because the realization and the excitement is like, wow, I really am good at this, and I understand now how I can, like, I guess entrepreneurs branch out and talk to other people and make more of an impact.
So big hint here, bonus episodes from Potapalooza will be dropping in the next month or so because we just did that and we just had like 3 of those people do that exact same thing. I'm not sure why we're matched up to talk. And then once we started talking, it just flowed and it was gorgeous. And I absolutely love all the tips and hints from real life perspective, right? That's the other thing that we really try to bring with the podcast is that they're bringing in their real life experiences, their real life perspective, and then how things have changed or gotten better, or those ups and downs. Because as we all know, as parents, as business people, as humans, we have our ups and downs. We have our good days, we have our bad days. And it's really amazing to see that shift, that change, those beautiful things that happen as you're learning to strive and be better. Now, a few words about Vibrant Family Education.
How many entrepreneurs and business owners start out on this journey to make a better life for their family, only to find that it took so much more time and effort than they were expecting that they had even less time for their family? I know I did.
At Vibrant Family Education, we want to help you reach your family goals while you're still building towards your business goals. We do this by bringing you the third leg of the stool to keep your family upright, family education development.
By bringing your children's education home, you will be able to model your work ethic and family values as you overcome obstacles and challenges to build your business. Instead of learning facts to pass tests, your children can be watching and seeing the dedication it takes to build your business and the legacy you want to create for their future. They will be able to witness the struggles and joys, the wins and the losses, and learn from you how to persevere and grow in life.
Instead of waiting until you get successful to spend more time with your family, start with the end goal in mind and bring your family home. Instead of trying to repair your family after you reach success, let us help you start achieving your family goals from the outset. Learn to be successful with your family now, and no matter what happens in the future, they will be better prepared for life, especially after watching how you cared for and built not only a business, but a healthy, happy, and successful family.
We offer a wide range of educational services, including how to easily get started with homeschooling. Come visit us at vibrantfamilyeducation.com and let us show you how. And now, back to our guest.
Yes.
Yes.
All of that.
All of that.
So as we were talking about, this is episode 100. We are officially closing season 1. So you'll start seeing the naming and things be a little bit different for season 2 for the next 100. So basically I'm going to do seasons as 100 at a time, which is basically about 2 years because we try to drop 1 per week. But we are actually over 100 episodes because we have 6 bonus in the queue, or 6 bonus on the screen. So we actually have 106 already published, and we will be doing the next season 2, starting with that one.
Yeah. So why did it take us so long to switch from season 1 to season 2?
Well, that's one of those curious things that podcasters get to choose when they do seasons. And I hadn't really thought about it. I was thinking that maybe we would just continue on just 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, whatever. Kind of like your lives when you do them. They just have been sequentially ordered. And then I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's time to shake it up a little bit. Let's get a new podcast cover. Let's talk about some different things a little bit. Let's just make season 2. So maybe it'd be easier for people to find episodes as well.
Cool. Yeah. What is your favorite topic when we're going through this? Because we've talked with so many different people, right, and so many different things. Sometimes it's like you get really excited and I don't get to say very much during a thing because it's like you get focused in with the person. So what are your favorite topics and things to talk about?
I think reading is absolutely one of them that I love talking about because I love teaching reading in my classroom. I love working with kids learning how to read. And it is so vital for all of us, adults and little people, to make sure that we have good reading skills. So reading is one of those topics. If you pull on a reading expert, we can just go and go and go and go and go. And unfortunately, Herb just kind of sits here and goes, not sure I got all of that. But then he comes in with these great questions like, well, as a parent, I didn't understand that term. Or as someone who isn't, know how to teach reading, explain that piece a little bit more. So that's super, super helpful, like I was saying before. What about you? What's one of your favorite topics?
I like the stuff that gets into let's call it the woo world,
Yeah.
that really out of the box stuff, when we start going into energies and vibrations and
Yes.
meditations and becoming human again. Because
Mhm.
so many people think that life is about the job and the school and all of this stuff,
Mhm.
but life is what happens underneath of that. It's the being human, it's the being in the body,
Mhm.
it's the
Yeah.
coming back into that, because we're here to have experiences. We don't come to this planet to get a job. We come to this planet to be here and have experiences.
And
And so
connect.
yeah, and connect with other people. So
Mhm.
those that bring us back
Yeah.
into ourselves,
Yeah.
bring back the humanity, instead of it just being a class, just being a lesson, just being a job, just being this. It's
Mhm.
like, no, there's a human being doing all of that.
Yep.
And so again, it kind of goes back into the diet, into the meditation, into
Mhm.
the movement, into the stuff that brings us back to being people.
And that meaningful communication that we're trying to have through the podcast, around the podcast with our families as well. That's super meaningful communication.
Yeah. And I also really like the stuff around diet, even though I don't necessarily have a great diet all of the time.
Mhm.
That is just so important to healthy people. And
Mhm.
so we actually have quite a lot of nutritional
Nutrition.
specialists
Yeah.
coming at it from different ways. And those are good, because you know nutrition, there's a lot of people who have a lot of problems with that, and
Yeah.
it can settle the families, it can settle issues. If you get the
Mhm.
nutrition right, then a lot of
Yeah.
problems go away.
Exactly. What was one of the I don't know, kind of off topic or out of the box episodes that we've had recently that you remember? I'm trying to have them popping in my head as well.
Well, it's kind of funny when I talk about the weird stuff that we talk about. The one that comes up most was, I think, Nikki Golly, when we were talking about poop.
Yeah.
And
Nikki's
that's
so much fun.
because it was just such a, but we've had so many amazing ones.
Yeah.
And but yeah, just talking, because I kept throwing in lots of double entendres, because that was a
Yes.
really crappy conversation.
Exactly. All
Yeah.
of that. Yes, exactly. But then we've had our nature expert and we've had our
The
the
sensory garden.
sensory garden. Yeah, that one hasn't been. Has that one been released? That one might not have
I
been
don't know.
released yet. You might have given one away. No, just kidding. It's all awesome. And but also we're diving more into supporting families who might be a little bit medically fragile or have a child who has huge education challenges. So we're supporting autistic families right now. And so one of the episodes that we just had was about a spelling method that helped a nonverbal child person become verbal and share what's actually kind of like stuck in their brain. So those kinds of things are super, super exciting to me. We've also
And I
talked
love
about
talking
brain.
with people who are already homeschooling and who had issues, and then they started homeschooling, and they were just amazed at what happened and how their families come together. So I really love to talk with people who are already doing what we're helping people get involved with,
Mhm.
because we're really hope that inspires people to take that step,
Yeah.
because it does seem scary, it does seem,
Mhm.
and so many people will like, oh yeah, I want to homeschool, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then when it comes time to actually do it, they
Do it.
like back out, and
Yeah.
it's like they get scared or frightened,
Yeah.
or and it's like, no, we really want to
You
encourage
really can
people
do it.
to that
Yeah.
they can do it. And so part of all of this, and maybe it's because they also get overwhelmed with how much information is out
Mhm.
there, but again, we help break it down, we help make it simple, we take you step by step through the
Yeah.
process.
Exactly. And that is one of the shifts for season two is I really want to start balancing between expert information that will help families and then bringing in other people who have homeschooled and give you their experiences and things so you can see what's going on and what's happening with that. So a little bit of a shift there in the kinds of episodes you'll be seeing as season two starts to unfold.
So the autistic one, did come out just
That
2
was,
weeks
yep,
ago.
exactly. That was episode 98. Yeah, with David. Yep. And then we had another David that we're going to be talking, that will be released here really soon. Actually, he was just released in 99. So we had the two Davids back to back. I forgot about that, 98 and 99. But I don't want to just name certain people. I am so grateful, so happy, so blessed for all of the 100 people who have been on our podcast, well, 100 plus, and all the people who, especially this last half, because we did a wrap up at episode 50 with the first 50 people. And this episode, we really want to make sure that we're tagging and highlighting those people who were on for this last set of 50. So thank you, absolutely everybody, every single guest who has been on. Thank you, audience, for listening. We are growing. Our stats are getting better, which is amazing. And like I said, we just share it out. There's somebody out there who this podcast is a good fit for,
and,
right?
Another thing that I know that you're really excited about, but didn't come up yet, is how far away we get people.
Oh yeah, that's been so much fun.
So we are an international podcast. We've had people from several other different countries.
Yes, Germany, and oh my gosh, Spain, and of course Canada, our lovely neighbors up north. We get a good crew from there. But then we also had a lady from, it used to be the Czech Republic, and now it's,
I don't remember.
I don't know either.
Moldova?
But no, not quite. But we are an international podcast, and I don't want to embarrass anybody, but when someone comes on with a nice accent, oh yeah, Australia, Scotland, we've had a couple, different places, different. So when people come on with accents, I always have a lot of fun because I love listening to the accents, and I'm not trying to be rude or politically incorrect there, but it's just amazing that how parents and experts from around the world can talk to our American audience as well and still get some really great information out of them.
And from where we're from in the Pacific Northwest, we are considered to have the least accented speech anywhere in the world. So our accent is non-accent. So it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
So a lot of voiceover actors and stuff come from this area because we do speak with the least amount of accent of anybody.
Okay. A little bit of future pacing here. What is your hope and dream for the next 100 episodes? Is there anything that pops into your head what about this?
Wow, I would like to talk to some of the really big names out there. Like the people that we're almost too embarrassed to ask. I would love to be able to talk with Jordan Peterson, but he seems so much out of our league. And I consider myself, an intelligent person, but listening to him sometimes makes me feel not so much. And so to have somebody that could really challenge us and what we're doing, but then also possibly support us.
Yeah, exactly. I have a company that I've been following for a long time called Love and Logic. And so Dr. Charles Fay, who has that group and is all about parenting and education. And so maybe having somebody like that person on would be great. So aspiring to some bigger names coming in, joining us. Not that our guests aren't amazing, because they absolutely are. But, every once in a while you want to reach for the stars too.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. This was just an episode to kind of say, hi, how are we? What have we learned through this experience? What are we grateful for? Making sure that we are reaching out to you, our audience, and letting you know also we appreciate you so much. We wouldn't be able to do this anymore. Well, yeah.
We would
still do it, and it's not as much fun without seeing those likes and reviews pop up and things like that. So if you like our show, review our show, help us reach out to other people.
Yeah. So I remember when we first started, I had started doing, a live recording every day on my thing. And Christina's like, well, let's do a podcast. But she was so nervous and so freaked out. And so when we first started, she's like, oh, I don't know that I can do this. But then after like 2 or 3 episodes, she's like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So yes, we do this to bring parents better information, to do this for you. But again, she has so much fun doing this that even if we didn't have anybody watching, she would still continue to do this just because of how much fun she has. She likes seeing herself on the camera.
That's not it at all. I don't like hearing myself talk
so
either.
Vain.
Now, mister. All right. Yeah. See, we're going off track. It's time to wrap this
But
up.
yeah, but so yeah, so the joy that she gets from doing this, she has fun interviewing, she has fun getting the
Doing the
people the
pre-chats.
pre-chats.
Yep.
So, it's for me, it's joyful to watch her doing this because there's no strings attached to it. She's just doing it because she enjoys it. And I get to come along and have fun and watch her enjoy it and add some stuff along the way a little bit as I can.
All right. Well, Mister, my inspiration. This is a team here, sitting here, working together for many, many years and inspiring each other.
Here comes the tears.
No tears. There will be no tears.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm just so very, very grateful. I'm glad we get to do this together because, like you said, it's fun watching him as well, interacting with the different guests and things like that. So we're going to wrap up episode 100 a little bit short and sweet today, but that's just because it's us and we didn't have a lot of interesting conversation with another person. But we are bringing you a whole new lineup. As a matter of fact, we already have 15-ish episodes ready for season 2. So we have already started full on making sure season 2 is ready for you.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because sometimes I'll start talking about a podcast and she's like, "Oh, we haven't released that one yet." And it's like, "Oh, okay, well that one's coming soon." And
yep.
Oh,
no, we're good.
She's starting to wake up again.
Yep. Anyway, audience, thank you again. Guests, thank you for being here. We will be tagging you. And audience, please share this around. And hopefully we have given you benefit. That is one of the main goals, is making sure families have something that they can use.
And so from inside and outside the box, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us. And bye for now. Hello and welcome to Bringing Education Home. I'm Herb.
And I'm Christina. And together we bring you experts